Okay, so you go to WWE and you sign with NXT,
Yeah.
which is like the G League.
Yeah, it was the
WWE.
developmental of
Yeah.
WWE. Yeah.
Right. You actually changed your name at this point.
Yeah, they were doing like we had a whole crop of like indie talent that we were all coming up to with, and we all got there like maybe 2 months ahead of time, or some people kind of like staggered in, but they blocked us in like one group, like me, what's the name, Trevor Lee, HHH, Garza, who's still up there, Kushida, New Japan talent. We all kind of came in at the same time, or like earlier or later. Keith Lee came in a little bit earlier than me, a couple months earlier than me. I think Damian Priest was there for like a little bit, but we were all there like together. And then they were like, we're gonna do all name changes. Everybody started figuring out names and stuff. I came with Isaiah Swerve Scott because I'm a big Isaiah Rashad fan, and Travis Scott, which is funny enough, Travis Scott's doing what he's doing now. So as Isaiah Scott, but they allowed me to lease the name Swerve to them. So if I'm ever released or anything like that, I get Swerve back, and I could still continue making my money on that.
Right. And Swerve came from Big Sean?
Yep. Big Sean just on what's it called, Mercy in 2012. He was saying that on like it was just a cool like ad lib for the song, and I was just like, yo, what if it was like Shane Swerve Strickland? Yeah, that feels cool, like a boxer nickname in the middle. So I just ran with Swerve Strickland for like 10, 15 years.
Okay, so now you're at WWE, and Triple H pretty much runs NXT.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And he is married to the daughter of Vince McMahon.
Yep.
And he's the chief content officer for WWE. So he's a big deal. On top of being a major wrestler.
Yeah, like that's aside from
all
20,
that. Yeah,
like
aside from all
13
that.
title reigns.
Okay, but the two of you never really gelled.
I would say like he had a respect for me and he knew what I was capable of, but I always felt like he positioned me in a way that wouldn't overtake other talent. In a sense, it was like you can't have like I was drafted 3rd round, 4th round to a team or something like that. And if you put me on the field, I'm going to outshine the first rounder that you drafted, that you paid $20 million for. And I'm getting paid like $900,000 to be on that team. But if you play me, what do you do with the first rounder? So he positioned me in ways like that, where it's like, oh shoot, that was a great performance. I'm like, yeah, give me more. He's like, not yet. I'm like, oh, why is that? Why aren't you giving me more? And I would have conversations with him straight to his face. I would tell him this straight to his face now. But we still have a good relationship, like even still to this day. But I would be like, oh, I want to be one of your guys. What do I have to do to be one of your guys? 3 months later, have the same conversation again. I want to be one of your guys. Thank you for the opportunity, but I want to be one of your go-to guys. And then like after a while, it's like a year goes by and I'm like, what's stopping me from being one of your guys? And that's where he was like, I backed him into a corner. He's like, oh shit, he's figuring out my shit. Because he like Triple H is great, but he has a way of like wording things in a way that run you around to where you started the conversation. And I picked up on that. And now I stopped him from running around it again. And I looked him in his face. I'm like, what's stopping you? And he was like, you know what? Let's get you with Vince Russo. I forget his first name. Get you at Russo. Get him a call. Start coming up with some stuff. And I was like, okay, cool. Because like at the time I like torn my meniscus. And so I was like out for like 4 to 6 weeks or whatever. And it's like, okay, I'm going to be off TV for a little bit. But when I'm coming back, I'm having a whole change. I didn't ask. I didn't go through creative like permission. I just did it. And he was like, and then I came in the one day and then Regal was just like, oh, I like this. William Regal was just like, I love all this. This is really good. He's like, I wish I would have thought about this when I had my career. And I was like, well, thank you. Appreciate that. So I always knew, like the one day I knew I was getting like bullshitted around the PC was like when I was there for like 3 or 4 months and I got called to do 205 Live against Drew Gulak, who had the Cruiserweight Championship. 205 Live is a show that takes place after SmackDown. So after SmackDown, you see the Roman Reigns, you see all these big names. They had the boom, 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 boom clash SmackDown main events, and they close off SmackDown. Mm-hmm. Then they do like another show for the extra content on the WWE Network at the time. And it was 3 matches they had, and we were the last one. So we had to go last on that night in Miami after you've seen all the stars. And it was me and Drew Gulak. We went 18 minutes in the ring straight for the Cruiserweight Championship. Everybody's on their feet, going crazy. I have Swerve's house signs, like going after Roman. I have Swerve's house signs. They're not chanting, "This is awesome." They're chanting, "Let's go Swerve." They're actually rooting for me to win this title. I ended up losing to Drew Gulak. Got great praise in the back coming afterwards. Charlotte, Bailey, Kofi, like all giving me crazy, like Samoa Joe. Everybody's giving me crazy praise. I come back to the PC and they're trying to teach you arm drags again. I'm like, get the fuck out of here with that. They're trying to tell me how to entertain 400 people in NXT when I just entertained 6,000 in the stadium. I'm like, why are you trying to backtrack me? Because I already showcased what I can do in front of 6,000, which is, well, mind you, that's the end game to all this, right? The end game is to get me there of what this product is. Right? That's like you don't bring the guy from the G League and he drops 30 in the NBA and come back to practice back at the G League and it's like, let's put him on the bench. And he needs more development. I'm like, I just dropped 30 on Giannis. What are we doing? So that was the mindset I had, and it was like kind of too brash. It was too overthinking. It was too like, and that's where I kind of clashed with Triple H as far as like we didn't gel. I really gelled with Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels was the one who was like, because he didn't have the full power. He was just like an advocate, and he was just like a partner to Triple H because he was more hands-on with the talent. And out of like all the coaches and all the people and the staff there, Triple H still had to go to the main roster and SmackDown and Raw and do a lot of these public appearances. He still had to do like the shareholders meetings and all that. So he couldn't be like there every day, but he was there pretty often. Shawn is the only one out of all those coaches that could really teach you how to be a top main event star. That's the only one there. So I'm like, that's who I need to get with. Why can't I get with him? I got pulled in to have a conversation with Matt Bloom. I tweeted something earlier in the week. I was like, something stupid. It was like a 1-word thing. I was like, it was like invaluable. I'm like, something like that, invaluable or some shit like that. But I was getting pulled in there with Kane and Seaman to do my promotion. I'm like, so they were like, oh, you're here, just right here, just getting your promotion, going up in pay, all that. He's like, but I want to ask you, why'd you tweet that? Why would you feel like, this or whatever? I'm like, because that's how I fucking feel. Like, I'm not hiding my feelings about it. I know what I'm worth. I know what my value is. And I feel like y'all are kind of holding me back from reaching that. And I only got like another year and a half here until my contract's up. He's like, what does that mean? I was like, it means exactly what I mean. Like, I have a year and a half for y'all to like do something with me of merit, and then I'm loose, and then I'm let loose. And by that time, AEW already started. So we're going back and forth on Wednesday nights. So I'm like, so they were like, he was like, well, what are you looking for? What do you want to do? I was like, I want to get in Shawn Michaels' class. Well, he's not really doing classes right now. He's not really holding classes because he's so busy with the show. I was like, well, can I get a meeting with him? He's like, I mean, his office is right over there. Bet. I went over there. I found Shawn. I was like, hey, Shawn, do you mind if I do tape studies with you? Do you mind if I he's like, absolutely. I'm like, is that fucking easy? I've been here a year and a half. And I could have just walked up to his office. But that's those things, they don't give you those curriculums. That's not part of it. That's the game. They want that run around until you earn the sweat equity to be able to go over there to be like, oh, now you're worthy of talking to Shawn because you put in all this stuff.